Okay, so hey guys, and welcome back to another weekly fighting roundup. Apologies about this being a day late, but now we're here doing it, and sorry if I feel a little bit rough. Anyway, starting off, if you're new around here, you haven't subscribed, please do so. Like the video if you didn't like the video, and let's get straight into it. So, starting off with boxing, of course. So, Muchinho has been ordered to fight Fundora. Antwi will fight Cartwright on the 1st of September. Fury vs Ngannou has a rematch clause in favour of Fury. The WBC won't order Canelo vs Benavidez this year, seemingly because Canelo's going to fight Charlo. Boazzi vs Aziz is set for October. Seems like it's a final eliminator for the belts that that Bivol holds. Clark vs Allen is set for September 2nd. Marku vs Moran is set for September 2nd. Vidal is set to fight Smith September 2nd, so looking like that September 2nd card's going to be great. Sete won via unanimous decision versus Huda. Brew Baker won via unanimous decision versus O'Malley. Wokuzo won via unanimous decision versus Kinlan. Dib won via TKO in round 9 versus Zalewski to become IBF Australasian lightweight champion. Smith will rematch Eubank Jr. September 2nd, so it's nice to see that fight actually ended up happening and all the talk not just being for no reason. And it'll be interesting now to see where Ben goes, because this was seemingly his option and his fight and what Eddie Hearn and him were pushing for, but now of course it's not happening. Price is set to fight Coghill. Usyk has signed for FC Policia. Don't know why I really put that in there, but I just thought it'd be interesting. It's interesting that he's now playing for a football team as well. Brandon has joined Wasserman. Andrews has joined Wasserman. Akoli has activated his rematch clause versus Billam Smith. Ben has been dropped out of the from the WBC rankings. Ajagba versus Kosobutsky. Jalolov, Carrington, Ali Walsh, and Mason will fight August 26th. Fury versus Ngannou will be 10 rounds. Pacquiao will fight Buakaw in January. Davis is in talks to join Golden Boy. Richards is set to fight Santos. Andrews won via points versus Sharp. Brandon won via points versus Fox. Brown won via points versus Mamedov. Clark won via points versus Arrowsmith. Marinets won via points versus Ali. Dovbyshchenko won via TKO in round 5 versus Harris. That was a big upset. Of course, Harris, I believe, got him down, and then he came back to then get knocked out, but I'm sure he'll be able to bounce back. I think it was just one of them lapsing concentrations, but it'll be interesting to see how that kind of affects his ego and his mindset, or not even just his ego, just his mindset in general going into a fight, because he has lost so early on in his career. Eubank won via TKO in round 7 versus Ellis. Lowe won via TKO in round 5 versus Santana. Zauerbeck won via TKO in round 3 versus Carter. Robles won via unanimous decision versus McGregor to become IBO World Super Bantamweight Champion. I got that one wrong, but in my prediction I did kind of say that if it went to the later rounds, or if it went, I said if it went to a decision it'd be difficult, but if it went to the later rounds then I'd have Robles more in favour. But fair play to him, he boxed a very good fight, he did exactly what he needed to do, put that pressure on McGregor, and it seems like McGregor just can't really handle the pressure and just didn't get in his flow and didn't look loose, and I don't think he's looked loose and comfortable in a lot of his past fights, and so he's now got the loss, and of course he's going to be campaigning for a rematch, but I don't know if that will be the case. Probably will be, but we'll have to wait and see. Demur has joined Happy Punch. Grain is set to fight Gilly. Milton won by a stoppage in round 4 versus Harvey. Ahiyo won by TKO in round 6 versus Sands. Isley won by unanimous decision versus Todd. Goodall won by TKO in round 6 versus Shaw. Santian won by unanimous decision versus Bone. Davis won by unanimous decision versus Patera to remain WBC USA and WBO Intercontinental Lightweight Champion. Cambosis Jr. won by majority decision versus Hughes to become IBO World Lightweight Champion. I got that one right, but as everybody's saying, and as is most probably right, that Hughes deserved to win that fight. He definitely had the better volume, he landed the more significant shots, he looked better throughout. I feel like maybe the reason why he didn't get the decision, of course, it was Cambosis Jr., him kind of being the A side, but I also think Hughes just looked that little bit unorthodox in his shots, and maybe didn't look as comfortable all the time, and wasn't really. He just didn't really look balanced at all, and obviously it didn't really matter because he still boxed an amazing fight and still should have won. But that just kind of more technical, I suppose, ability and better looking shots coming from Kambosos maybe was the reason why he won. But either way, it's still not really fair and still not really justified, and it's just another one of them things as to why boxing can be so cruel sometimes, especially to somebody like Hughes, who's this is his big chance. It was his big moment, and he just missed out, and it is really sad. But I suppose it'll be interesting to see where Kambosos Jr. goes next. I'm not entirely sure, because to be fair, Stevenson did pretty much just write out the opportunity of them two fighting on Twitter, so I would still like to see it possibly a rematch here, or him fight Lomachenko. Either way, but I don't think he's going to get major opportunities after that performance. Turner won via TKO in round 1 versus Kumar. Al Blushi won via unanimous decision versus Nitin. Anwar won via TKO in round 4 versus Tokero. Kulak Kumet won via KO in round 2 versus Julio. Choki won via TKO in round 4 versus Seb Blulim. Lamptey won via KO in round 1 versus Pumic. Herrera won via TKO in round 4 versus Kwam. Kegai won via TKO in round 4 versus Lainez. BR Slanov won via TKO in round 4 versus Tova. Souza won via KO in round 10 versus Dickens to become IBF World Featherweight Champion. And it was a brutal KO, a mad KO. And that maybe shows that Dickens isn't really able to fight at this level anymore. He's kind of past it, and if he's not got that chin anymore, then it means he's going to struggle against any hard-hitting opponent, and the fact that he did just get slept like that is not going to be a good sign for him, and I don't really know where he goes next. I would not even hate if he retired, to be completely honest, but I suppose there still will be options available, but I don't know if they're going to be the options that he's going to want realistically. The AK guy won via KO in round 3 versus Sellers. Sharks and Dean the Great won via unanimous decision versus Yankee TV and APAP. Got that one right. Belcher won via TKO in round 3 versus Demur. I believe I got that right anyway, and I didn't even know Demur was going to fight. Nick Lamau won via points versus Swarms, B. Dave and Johnson, and I got that one right. It was weird, the 4-man thing. Not really a massive fan of it, to be completely honest, but I suppose it worked to an extent. Grady won via KO in round 2 versus the Magic Crasher. Corn won via TKO in round 4 versus Umbea. The Magic Crasher one didn't get it right. Corn versus Umbea didn't get that one right. Welland is in talks to join Wasserman. Khan versus Pacquiao is rumoured for the end of the year. And yeah, that's it for the boxing news. Seems like Pacquiao's going to be quite active. Anyway, moving on now to the UFC news. Makhachev versus Oliveira 2, Costa versus Chimaev, and Imavov versus Aliskerov will fight on the 21st of October. That looks like a good card. Makhachev versus Oliveira 2 is good, but it seems like they're going to really find it difficult to make fights for Makhachev. It seems like if he wins this, they probably will give Volkanovski to fight again with him, but there's only really them two that's really big fights at the moment for him, because there's not really many other huge options there for him. And I'm sure he's going to be wanting the biggest of fights. Santagan will fight Font August 5th. Filo won via submission round 1 versus Berrez. Brazil won via decision versus Bannon. Duncan won via decision versus Ashmove. Vieira won via decision versus Kianzad. Muradov won via decision versus Barbarena. Parkin won via decision versus Pogues. Alvarez won via submission round 2 versus Diakaze. Parsons won via KO in round 2 versus Roberts. Big up Parsons, congratulations to him. Of course, we had him on the channel before that fight, if you want to go check that out. Marcos won via decision versus Grant. Murphy won via decision versus Kulibio. Zian won via decision versus Herbert. Craig won via KO in round 2 versus Muniz. Wood won via decision versus Feely. Stoliarenko won via submission in round 1 versus McCann. And Aspinall won via KO in round 1 versus Tibera. And what a fight that was for Aspinall. Great performance, just what he needed coming back off the injury. Of course, there was maybe a little bit of doubt as if he still could do it after the injury, but great performance, probably one of his best, if not his best. And he's put out his plan: Spivak, Garn, winner next, and then Jones afterwards. And seems like everybody's up for it, everybody's sorted with it, and let's hope we get to see all that happen. And yeah, that is it for today's video. Hope you did enjoy. Like it if you didn't, like this, subscribe if you're new, and thanks for watching.